Transactive Grid is a joint venture, the LO3, formed with Consensus to pursue some activities in the energy space, specifically related to blockchain infrastructure. Unlike normal databases and normal software, where within the company you can pretty much trust that it's going to operate properly because everybody supposedly in the company shares the same concerns and goals. On this sort of system, because the blockchain is a database that's essentially replicated, and everybody who makes use of systems on the blockchain has their own local copy of everything. There's no way for a rogue system administrator or a CFO or a hacker to get into the system and improperly manipulate the data. And so some people call that trustless, some people call it trust minimized, but essentially whether you're in one organization or a competing organization that's cooperating on something specific, you can trust that the processes and the data on that system are correct.
So Transactive Grid is a hardware and a software solution. The hardware components themselves are pieces that live in the grid, or live in your house, live in a building. These things become nodes in the network. These nodes are actually securing the network, and they're also counting the transactions. So the thing that you're buying, the thing that you're selling, whether it be energy, whether it be the production of energy or the non-use of energy, those things are counted, put into the platform itself, and then come out the back as a transaction.
Whether you're a utility or Mary on one side of the street or Bob on the other side of the street, you're a producer and consumer of energy, potentially. Some entities may produce no energy and totally consume. But essentially, if you measure if you measure the electricity that's produced, and if there is excess beyond what a particular producer needs for his or her own purposes, then that excess can be put on the grid and exchanged for value.
In order to work, a microgrid needs control. Control in the form of how does electricity serve not only one roof and one toaster, but serve other buildings and other users. So a transactive grid is a grid that can support energy when one person wants it and another person has it. The ability to actually transact between, on a peer-to-peer basis, individual consumers and producers in a microgrid is a big part of how a community microgrid can function.
What we're focused on doing is lowering the barrier to entry for this energy market so that smaller and smaller generators, you with your own PV system, can participate in the production of energy and benefit from the sales of energy or storage or whatever it might be in this transactive market.
The way the blockchain automatically verifies and audits all transactions make it possible to basically be sure that no energy credits, for instance, are double counted, and it also completely eliminates the possibility of errors. And so this can be a huge cost saving because there is no longer a need to hire external auditors to go through all the books and make sure everything is correct. The blockchain automatically computes everything and also has a complete audit history of all interactions.
So from the bigger picture, if you know somebody has produced something and you know the counterparties in between and you know the person that's actually bought the thing that they've produced, having that chain of custody is really the key, right? So the people in the middle might be a utility, it might be an energy services company, it might be a battery company, it could be any counterparty in the middle. Right now, the way the utility grid works, you don't know where your electrons come from. There isn't really a way for you to account that those electrons are making it to you. And there isn't really a way for you to account for who's touched the electrons in between. That doesn't need to be the case. There's evolution that can happen in this system. Transactive grid is actually pushing for that evolution.